Kunjabi Adi Madhava Kunjabi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Madhava Kunjabi Adi Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Gaur Pimanandi Jayo Vishnupad Paramahamsa Hari Vidagacharya Astatharasata Srimad His Divine Grace is the Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Gaur Pimanandi Haribol. Shatrupa, do you have this picture that changes in the background? Somewhere in your computer? Huh?
The animation.
If you have it or can find it, let me have it. Not now. This is a moving picture. The background moves when you copy it properly. I didn't copy it properly, so it doesn't move, but it's very enchanting, charming picture of Radharani. So in 2 days is the celebration of Radharani's appearance. Is that clock's right? Fantastic. I'm used to clocks not being, anyway. So we're a little early. but that's okay, right? Welcome, everybody. I mean, even if you're not with us, welcome anyways. And as soon as you join, we'll be already moving. There's a very nice description of Radha and Krishna's appearance in this world. Radha, in the spiritual world, Krishna exists eternally in Krishna Loka with all of his loving associates. And on one occasion, Krishna was smiling very charmingly and saying nothing. And Radharani asked, "What is it?" And he said, "Very soon, we're going to appear on earth. I have my pastimes of this world to appear in the material world, so the hearts and the minds of the souls that have forgotten me can be attracted to again come to my eternal abode. And I look forward to performing those pastimes with you." So Radharani was hesitant. How is this possible? How can we bear separation from River Jamuna and Govardhan Hill and the forest of Vrindavan? And Krishna's reply is, "No worries. They have already made their appearance in this world." And there's a very, connected to that, a very detailed description of how Govardhan appeared. But the appearance of Krishna in his form as the flute-holding Supreme Personality of Godhead in Krishna Loka appears only once and every day of Brahma. And every day of Brahma is a long period of time. And when Krishna appears, Radha appears, and his whole abode appears. And when she appears, there's not this evening, but another time, in anticipation of Radharani's appearance, I'm going to be describing, there are 5 different narrations of Radharani's appearance having to do with different days of Brahma. It appears slightly differently. And one of the most amazing ones is described by Rupa Goswami in Lalita Madhava. But that's another class, not tonight. When she appears, this most recent time, her appearance place was in Raval. Raval is on the eastern side of the river Jamuna, and different than the western side, where the Varsana, the place where the ancestral home of Radharani is. So it's a very beautiful place. Varsana was the home of Vrishabhanu and Kirtida. There's 5 peaks. 4 peaks. And the palace of Radha is at the top of one of them. And Raval, this is on the western side. So the narration goes like this, that Nanda and Yasoda, Nanda was the king of the whole cowherd community, and one of his dearmost friends was Vrishabhanu. And everything was going splendidly except for one concern. Both couples, Vrishabhanu and Kirtida, his wife, Nanda and Yasoda, they had no children. And They performed yagas and this and that, and there was no children. So then together they decided that they would go to the eastern side in Gokul, and perhaps they would have better fortune of having children. So the whole cowherd community shifted from where you see, from the ancestral home of Rishabhanu and then his good wife Kirtida. They moved to Gokul. And there in Gokul, Radha and Krishna were both born. Appeared as the son of Nanda Yasoda. There's details about Vasudeva and Devaki being the mother, father. Without going into those details this evening. Krishna became you can say, the foster son, or the son of Nanda and Yasoda. And after some time, our acharyas say 3 years and 4 months' time, the whole cowherd community shifted from Gokul, from Raval and where Nanda's palace was, to the forest of Vrindavan. And then after 3 years, 4 months, again they shifted. Nanda went to Nandagram, and Kirtida and Rishabhanu went to what you see here, Varsana. So this isn't her birthplace, it's where she spent her childhood. And celebrated amongst those, when you visit Varsana, hopefully we'll visit next Kartik, depending upon Mr. COVID and what he decides to do. There's 8 villages surrounding Varsana, each being the village for one of the 8 principal gopis. And next year, Kartik time, will be with Bhakti Caitanya Maharaj, who knows where those places are. It's not well known. They're very, very small places. Like a little village today. Who knows what it was during their time, but very specific places where each of the gopis resided. And the gopis were dear friends. Now, not friends like young girls might today be friends with one another, although they can get very close to one another. The gopis were constant associates of Radharani. They're even said to be her direct expansions. And even specifically, there's different characteristics found within Radharani that scripture has identified. And then one of the gopis, they were manifestations of some of those qualities of Radha. And then some other qualities of Radha, and another mixture, another mixture. But they're just her expansions, and their life and soul was Radha. We're going to hear this term, Pran Sakhi. Sakhi means a dear friend. Like Krishna's friend, Arjuna, is called Sakha. Bhaktosi me Sakha Cheti. And Sakhi is girlfriend. So Pran Sakhi is how the girls, these 8 principal gopis, identified Radha. They would call her by name, but they would also call her their Pran Sakhi, their life. Their friend who was their life. And there's some very interesting details for those that like these details, especially for those who are following the path of Raganuga Bhakti. These details become very important. The different gopis commonly had a certain kind of sari that they would wear, a certain color, certain kind of ornaments, certain way that they would keep their hair, a certain features of their personality, and details. Because these are said to be stimulation for ecstatic love. These are what the language of Rupa Goswami says, They're ragatmikas. You've heard that term? Yeah? Your Nectar Devotion class? Ragatmika? Huh? And you that was one of the questions? Okay. Well, the Ragatmika term, according to Rupa Goswami, means those who are in residents of Vrindavan and have perfected love for Krishna. They're eternal associates that have perfected love for Krishna. Those are Ragatmikas. And Raganuga means to follow one of them. So the descriptions, the detailed descriptions, which we're not doing right now, but the detailed descriptions of each of these 8 gopis is a way to follow Raganuga Bhakti by meditating on one of them and become a follower of one of them. And that's, of course, at a mature stage of bhakti. So Radha and Krishna are never alone. They're always surrounded by their loving associates, and particularly Radha has many gopi friends. There's millions and millions and 8 principal ones. And we commonly hear about Srimati Radharani, like pictured here, where she's by the bank of the river Jamuna, like we sing in our song, Yamuna Tira, Vanachari. The forests along the banks of the river Jamuna, that's where they are. So it's a nice image to think of when you sing that song, Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Or sometimes they're by the side of Govardhan Hill, and the charming flute song of Krishna is filling the ears of the trees and the creepers and the cows and the gopas and the gopis and all the living entities moving and non-moving in Vrindavan. Charming flute song of Krishna, and especially attracted is Srimati Radharani, the epitome of Krishna's love. She is the pleasure potency, or Hladini Shakti. Krishna has unlimited numbers of spiritual potencies, and one of those is his own pleasure potency. Krishna doesn't need pleasure outside of himself because he's full in himself. And Radharani is not aside from himself, she's his pleasure potency personified, Hladini Shakti. And the Hladini Shakti expands herself into many, many, many other Shaktis or Sakhis, cowherd girls, that all are her assistants in the loving pastimes of Krishna. And the loving pastimes of Krishna are very diverse. Of course, there's many sweet, loving pastimes, but there's a feature about Radharani that she sometimes becomes angry with Krishna. No, people that are friends or people that are married or people that have a close relationship with one another, sometimes they have disagreements, it happens. But when Radha and Krishna have their disagreements, it's totally different than ours. It's fully out of love and fully transcendental. So here's a celebrated painting, Radharani's painting of Radha in her mood of anger with Krishna. And it's a loving pastime, Man, Lila, her pastime of anger. And we'll take a close-up look at Krishna. He has tears in his eyes. He's the supreme enjoyer with tears in his eyes. And look in the background, you see over 2 shoulders, there's some gopis watching. And here's Radharani, again in the background, some gopis watching, but she has tears, but she's smiling, pulling back her veil. Don't touch me. Stay away from me. But her heart is fully with Krishna. So Krishna enjoys the left-wing gopis. There's a term in Sanskrit that indicates the mood of Radha, and there's another group of devotees called Chandravali and her associates. Chandravali, it turns out, is also Radha's expansion, and her function is to create competition for Krishna's attention, so the left-wing gopis get really fired up and have their pastimes of love with Krishna that's in competition, apparently not worldly kind, but the other kind of competition with the right-wing gopis. So just like in Dwaraka, there's the two principal queens that represent these same moods. Rukmini is on the right wing side and Satyabhama is on the left wing side. She can go ahead. She's okay. You did a good job. Okay. And sometimes when Radha becomes angry, Krishna doesn't know what to do. We were just discussing yesterday evening, isn't it? When the cowherd boys entered the mouth of Aghasura and Krishna became bewildered. He who is omniscient and all-powerful became bewildered and didn't know what to do. So sometimes Krishna doesn't know what to do when Radha becomes like this. So one of those pastimes is a pastime where he tried this and tried that, and Radharani wouldn't change her mood. She was remaining angry. And Krishna was beside himself, what to do. So one of Radharani's dear friends, Lalita, took compassion upon Krishna, and she made a plan. And the plan was she would dress Krishna like a gopi and have Krishna come and be introduced by Lalita to Radha as a very excellent singer. And as soon as Radha saw Shyamasaki, she was very attracted. Who is this girl? And we just met her. She's from some other village and she is very skilled at singing. And if you permit, she'll be very happy to sing a song for you. So Radharani consented, and Shyamasaki sang in a melody that had never been heard before, and with certain notes and so forth and so on. So attractive. Sing again, and she sang again and sang again. And this is so delightful. How do I repay you? The only thing I can do is I can repay you is my embrace. And she embraced Shyamasaki, and then she realized, whoops, it's Krishna, and her anger towards Krishna broke. The plan of Lalita was successful. Then there's a very lovely pastime where nothing worked and nothing worked and nothing worked. What happened was Krishna was scheduled to come meet with Radha. So Radha had her gopis decorate her kunj, or her grove, where she was staying. This shows like a little mini palace or something, but it was just a grove of trees. And they were waiting, and they were waiting, and they were becoming really restless. So Radha sent a messenger. And the messenger went looking around to see where is Krishna, and the messenger happened to run across Shaibya. Shaibya is one of Chandravali's assistants. So Shiva was in a haughty mood and said, you're looking for Krishna? Well, he's just going to have to wait, because Krishna is now with Chandravali. So your Radha is going to have to wait. Krishna's occupied. So the messenger was very unhappy to hear this news and didn't want to deliver bad news. You don't ever like to deliver bad news. But she came back, and the gopis were in this singing and festive mood, preparing to receive Krishna, and she just expressed her joy at seeing how festive they were, but then expressed the bad news that Krishna's late, and why he's late. He's with Chandravali. And Radha immediately became very angry, transcendently angry, and insisted, I don't want to see Krishna. If Krishna comes, tell him just to go away. Radha doesn't want to see you. So some time passed, and Krishna came. And right in front were Vishaka and Lalita. They put their hand on their hips and said, "What are you doing here?" Said, "Well, I was supposed to meet with Radha, but I got delayed, and we know your business. Radha has told us, you can leave now. Get out. She doesn't want to see you. You're unwelcome." And Krishna tried this and tried that, and that made them more belligerent. So Krishna went away. And he was very sad, because he'd been very much looking forward to being with Radha, loving exchange. So he went by the side of the river Jamuna and was hanging his head, very bewildered what to do. And Purnamasi came along. And you know who is Purnamasi, right? Do you know who is Purnamasi? You've heard her name? You're not sure. Do you know what Yogamaya means? Yogamaya? The potency of Krishna's pastimes is Yogamaya. So she's Yogamaya personified. So she came across Krishna as he was very sad by the side of the river Jamuna and asked, "What happened? What happened?" Of course she knew. And Krishna said, "Here's what happened. I was delayed, and I know it was wrong, but Radha is so angry, and she won't see me, and she told me, get out." And that the gopis, they wouldn't even let me speak to her. Fall at her feet, beg for her forgiveness, get out. What to do? I'm bewildered. So Purnamasi said, "I have the solution. My dear friend Vrinda Devi is just about to arrive, and she can take you to a place where you can assume the costume of a mendicant. You have to get rid of that peacock feather. You have to get rid of your flute. You can't wear your cowherd boy uniform. You have to dress like a mendicant. She has a costume for you, mendicant costume. And you go as a astrologer and a singer. And you go and beg alms at Radharani's kunj in this disguise. So Krishna was good at disguises. He accepted the disguise of a beggar. And because the gopis are cultured, when they saw a mendicant beggar, they were immediately respectful. And they asked him, our our dear mendicant, what alms would you like? And he said, I just want to perform for you one nice song. I'm a beggar. And he sang a song. It's a Sanskrit song. The song is describing how Krishna is begging for Radharani's mercy. That was the song. He's begging for prema from Radharani. And he sang so beautifully. They said, this is really wonderful. You have other skills? Are you a palmist? Or are you an astrologer? And he said, yes, I know those skills. And they said, well, our dearmost Radharani, our Pran Saki, she's in a very difficult circumstance, and we'd like to know what's going to happen to her. So if you have palmistry, we can take you to her. He said, well, I'm a very strict sannyasi. So, I can't touch any woman's hand. So then what to do? She said, well, I can read the lines on a woman's forehead or a person's forehead and tell their future. Well, that's difficult because Radharani is very strict. She won't show her face to any man other than to Krishna. She said, well, if she can just pull back her veil, then I can read her forehead and tell what the future holds for her. So they brought him before Radha, and very shyly she pulled back her veil. And as soon as she pulled back her veil, immediately Krishna manifested, instead of his mendicant's form, his Tribhanga Lalitam form, and Radharani's anger mood broke. So this is a narration told to indicate the beggar of the love of Radha by Krishna. And you know who that is, right? Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wasn't feeling anger from Radharani, but he was feeling separation from Radharani, or the mood of Radharani's separation from Krishna. So that pastime that Krishna performed has its counterpart in the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Have you seen this painting before? You've seen? It's supposed to be, it has been said that it's an actual commissioned painting of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during his time. And somebody has done some graphics that's really nice. Let's see if we can get the graphics to work. Let's see if I can get it to do it again. I hope it doesn't just change. So as we know, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself in the mood of Radha, and the mood of Radha is Krishna is everything for her. And the mood of Krishna is Radha is everything for him. They're eternal companions, lover and beloved, or Shaktiman and Shakti, but they appear as two entities, actually one entity. So in Krishna's pastimes with Srimati Radharani, he's playing the part of one who is her beloved. But it's a transcendental understanding that it's an eternal relationship between the energy and the energetic. There's nothing outside of Krishna and his own potencies, and same with the gopis, they're expansions of Radha. So it's just Krishna's enjoying his own pastimes with his own potencies. And this material world is the reflection of all of that, where people are trying to enjoy something outside of themselves, but there's nothing outside of Krishna. So here's the last image. This is Srimati Radharani in Vrindavan. It's not, today's photograph. It's from a few years ago. But the Vrishabhanu Nandini, the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, Radharani, is the dear most beloved of Krishna, and her appearance day will be celebrating in just 2 days. So we'll be hearing some more, I'm sure, between now and then about Radharani. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be speaking to the Chinese devotees. I don't know, I think this would be a nice set of images to show to them also, although there's so many. So many. Now, we have some newer people online, I would assume, yeah? I'll tell one nice pastime. You know the pastime of Krishna searching for the calves and the cowherd boys when Brahma stole the calves and the cowherd boys? You know that story? Do you recall that while Brahma was gone, in Brahma's time it was just a short moment or two, but in earthly time it was 1 year. And for 1 year, Krishna was manifesting himself as the cowherd boys and calves, so that the cows could have Krishna as their calf, and the mothers could have Krishna as their son, although he looked exactly like their son. I mean, I don't know if somebody tried to imitate your son, if you mistake your son for somebody imitating your son. But Krishna could make an exact replica of the mannerisms and the voice and the everything and the everything. The little difficulty is they had to grow in 1 year. But, Krishna knows how to do that too. So, it is said that during that 1 year, Krishna made a proposal. And the proposal was that in our culture, in our village culture, Vedic culture, young boys and young girls are married. They're not live together married, but they know who they're going to be married to. So let's have marriages. All these boys can marry the girls. And then later they'll know who their husbands are, the girls. So Purnamasi agreed. Purnamasi is Yogamaya. She organizes Krishna's pastimes. So there was a big marriage. And one of those persons married was Radharani. Radharani was married to Abhimanyu. Now Abhimanyu was in the cave. So it was actually Krishna that married Radharani. But by Yogamaya's influence, all the cowherd boys that were in the cave just accepted, we got married during that 1 year. They just carried on like nothing happened. But then they were told, you're married. Oh, really? Okay. And so later Radha became known as the wife of Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu and Radha. Because I'm going to be saying his name a few times. Abhimanyu. And Abhimanyu had a mother and a sister. Katila was his sister, and Jatila was his mother. They were both a little mad, daffy. So Radha got permission from Abhimanyu during the month of Magh, which is December, January, it's the coldest month in Vrindavan, that she was going to do a vrata, a vow, along with some of her friends. And the vow was that they were going to go to the river Jamuna before the sun came up and take their bath in the river Jamuna in the freezing cold river Jamuna. And so Katila became suspicious. So she wanted to know, when Radharani leaves, where does she go? And then she also got the idea, maybe she's meeting Krishna. So she decided, she got permission from Jatila, her mother, and so she went to find out where was Krishna that early hour of the morning. And when she got there, she was asking, is Krishna around? Oh, he went to take bath by the river Jamuna. So she said, aha. So she had her detective hat on, and she was following Krishna's footsteps in the soft sand of Vrindavan. And she followed him right to where Krishna was. And where Krishna was somewhere in between Kaliya Ghat and Keshi Ghat. So when you go to Vrindavan, you'll go to both places for sure, because it's very close to Krishna Balaram temple. Keshi Ghat, and not so far down is, Kaliya Ghat first, and then a little further is Keshi Ghat. So she was coming, and one of Radha's messengers was out looking around to see what's going on, and she quickly came running back, saw all the fun of all the gopis, because Krishna was with them, and they were enjoying together. And she said, you're in such a festive mood, I hate to give you some bad news, but Katila is just about to reach this place, and she looks really angry. So, the gopis became worried. What to do? Krishna said, don't worry. I've got a plan. You'll see it's a really good plan. And Vrindadevi, can you make some arrangements so I can be dressed up just like Abhimanyu? So she put on her Abhimanyu costume. And then Krishna went out looking for Abhimanyu's sister, Katila. And they met along the path, and oh, Katila, what are you doing here so early in the morning? She said, I'm here to be in a service to you and my sister-in-law, Radharani, because I think Radharani is with that bad person, Krishna. Really? How do you know? And what's your plan? So she disclosed her plan. And he said, well, I'm here because I was looking for a stray bull that got away as I was planning to plow the pasturing ground. And I've been unable to find the bull, and that's a very great misfortune. Maybe someone stole it, but it's nothing like someone stealing one's wife. So I'm going to wait here. You go ahead, and if you find them, come back and report to me. So she felt empowered. Her brother is really happy with her spy work. And she went, and Lalita and Vishaka were standing out front of the grove where Radha and her friends were. And they sounded really happy. Oh, Jatila, How nice! What are you doing here so early in the morning? It's very far from your home. And she said, I've come to see what kind of religious principles you're following. And they said, meaning that they were there to do some vrata. And she said, oh, well, welcome. And said, I know what kind of people you are. I can, by the fragrance of the body of Hari, I can tell he is here in this vicinity, and you're in big trouble. Well, come right in and have a look around. You're speaking in such a harsh way, but he's not here. And then Radharani emerged. I want to see where Radharani was staying, and she said, well, this is the place that's maintained by the demigods, and you'd have to be really foolish to try to enter into a place that's protected by the demigods. Get out of my way. And she kicked the door open. There were some bushes in between, and then she found a necklace and a broken garland. Aha! I've got the evidence, Sherlock Holmes. You're in big trouble now. And Radharani came forward and said, my dear sister-in-law, you can show this to anybody you like. That's not my necklace. And I'll help you. We'll go everywhere and see. But why are you speaking this way? I know you. You're up to no good, and you're in big trouble now. So she left, and she went to find her brother, Abhimanyu, who was Krishna. And she showed him the evidence. Look at this and look at this. Said, oh, now we've got him. That bad person, Krishna, is really in big trouble. But we have to protect the reputation of our family. So I have a suggestion. I'm going to take this necklace and go to the king. But better than I take it to the king, I'll go to my good friend Govardhan Malla. That's the parent, the husband's name of Chandravali. Govardhan Malla is Chandravali's husband's name. And I'm going to tell, this is your wife's necklace, and Krishna was with her, and you have a relationship with King Kamsa. You show him this evidence and ask him to bring 10 infantrymen and 8 men on horses, and we'll arrest Nanda and his son and bring proper punishment. So you go back and tell all this news to Jatila. So Krishna just dilly-dallied for a while wearing his Abhimanyu costume. And for about an hour, this is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's story, narration. And then he goes back to his home. And he says, this is Krishna in the disguise of Abhimanyu. The message has been delivered to Kamsa, and very soon the soldiers of Kamsa are going to come and take care of Nanda Maharaj and his wicked son. And I believe very soon this imposter, Krishna, is going to come in a disguise of Abhimanyu, of me, and try to enter and mix with Radharani when you're not watching. So don't let him in. Oh, thank you. Good going. Kamsa is going to bring justice to all of this. So Krishna leaves, and after some time Abhimanyu comes back to his home. And he's greeted by his mother and sister in really harsh language. Get out of here, you imposter. You're just a debauchee, and get out. And he was thinking, my sister and my mother must be haunted by a ghost. They've gone mad. Why are they speaking like this? Now, and that's where the story ends. It doesn't, what happened next isn't told. But the Krishna creates intrigue in pastimes just for sporting. So then before Krishna didn't go away, Krishna said, I'm going to go protect Radha. This is when he came as Abhimanyu, in the disguise of Abhimanyu. So he was with Radha because all the gopis had dispersed and gone back. So he was just enjoying with Radha in a very clever and cunning way. I mean, these pastimes are something like the pastimes that Krishna performed when he was very little, in his stealing of butter. Do you know the name for Krishna when he steals butter? No, that's it with around starts with an M. Butter thief. Starts with an M. Makhan chor. Yeah. Chor means thief. Makha. Butter thief. Makhan chor. Makhan chor. So with his butter thief pastimes, now this is not Radharani, this is Krishna, but he's very clever. The elder gopis were just marveling at, he comes up with so many interesting, creative, clever ways to steal. See, he enjoys not, because what's his, everything is his, so there's nothing to steal. But he enjoys the exchanges with the elder cowherd women, and he enjoys the exchanges with Jatila, Katila, and everybody else to have pastimes with the expansions of his own pleasure potency, Radharani. They're just pleasure pastimes. And very intriguing, very, very interesting way that Krishna enjoys with his associates, headed by Srimati Radharani. And sometimes it's very straightforward, and many times it's very the opposite. Our acharyas say that the movements of love in Vraja are like the movements of a snake. When a snake goes from point A to point B, it doesn't go in a straight line. The snake goes in a very weaving way. So the loving pastimes of Krishna look like that. It looks like, uh-oh, here's danger, and even sometimes he creates dangers and then finds clever ways out of those dangers. And that's part of Krishna's nature and his loving exchanges. So as we approach Radhastami, we're going to hear some further nice pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So let's see if there's some discussion.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much for the class. We read in Nectar of Devotion about taking shelter of Srimati Radharani. When I was reading about that, I was thinking about, apart from chanting the holy name where Hare is Radharani, anything else we can do, like to take shelter, like what practically means to take shelter of Radharani?
What did you read in Nectar Devotion?
That Radharani is considered Madan Mohan Mohini.
Yes.
So taking shelter of her, she is a reservoir of all the internal potency of Krishna. So she can deliver that to us if we take shelter too.
So it said, did it say how to take shelter? Just said it's important to do so.
I think so. Like taking shelter of Radharani, you get.
Didn't say how to.
Not in that context.
Well, what's one of Radharani's favorite activities? She has many. She's well known for her cooking. So that's one way. Cook in the mood that you're cooking to assist Radharani in making nice offerings for Krishna. Or any of the arts. She and the gopis would make garlands for Krishna. So when you make garlands, you're making garlands to assist Radharani in making nice garlands for Krishna. So it's, to think of the activities that she does that you can also do in a mood of being her assistant. Because that's what the gopis do. It's not like they do something spectacular other than their devotion. So take shelter, serve her, be her assistant, and her service to Krishna, services to Krishna. And a really good place is the kitchen. That's your department, right? Okay.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah, sure.
It's a little off topic, but I was always thinking about that when our acharyas, when they got entry into these pastimes, that revealed to us, what is exactly that happening? Like, are they physically taking entrance in that pastimes?
Spiritually.
Spiritually. Okay.
Yeah, their spiritual form. Yes. They're participating. There's observing and there's participating.
Okay. So that pastime is happening right now in front of them, or
Yes, and they're participating. It's not just watching television. They're participating.
Thank you.
There's a nice narration in this regard, following your question. It's found, have you visited Radha Kund, Shamakund? You haven't? When you do, one of the places that you'll visit is the Bhajan Kutir of Sanatan Goswami. Now he had more than one, but one of them is at Manasi Ganga, but the one that's at Shamakund, it overlooks, it's a little, topographically, it's a little elevated, overlooking Shamakund, and on the other side of Shamakund there's a set of steps. There's a name for those set of steps. And Rupa Goswami would regularly bring things that he wrote to his elder brother for approval. So he brought some things, and his other brother was reading, and he said, there's one, describe a girl's braid as being like a snake, or looking like a snake. But he didn't say anything. He said, let me meditate on this, I'll get back to you. So that afternoon, as he was looking over, he saw a bunch of girls playing on that set of steps to go into the Shamakund. And as they were playing and throwing a ball and this and that, he saw a snake climbing up one of the girls' backs, a really big snake. And he called out. And the girl smiled and turned and said, it's just my braid. And then they just disappeared. And later Rupa Goswami said, so what'd you think? He said, oh, it was very good. I especially liked the part about that. So they actually experienced. There's other examples. They actually experienced and participated in the pastimes.
Krishna Guru Maharaj, I always get so confused with the whole ladies department.
It's a microphone. Is it on?
Yes.
Yeah, whole.
You got to speak right into the microphone.
Okay. So I get confused and
You get confused.
in all this, all the Shaktis, all the ladies department, and Radharani is internal potency of Krishna. Purnamasi, Maya, Devi is external potency.
No. Let's step back. We went over this. You may even have been the same one to ask the question at their home. So there's this category of spiritual potency. The Sanskrit phrase is Chit Shakti, spiritual potency. Another name is Svarup Shakti, but that's the spiritual potency. And then there's many divisions. Yogamaya is one of those many divisions. And Satchitananda or Sandini is the same as Sat. Samvit, Vit means to know. Samvit is the same as Chit. And Hladini. So Satchit Ananda or Samvit, Sandini and Hladini. Those are also potencies that are part of his internal potencies, or spiritual potencies. And if you want a longer list of what they are, I can suggest some places to look, if you're interested. You're confused enough already.
So,
they're part of his spiritual potency, and they have different functions.
okay, so in which category the Lord Shiva's wife,
Parvati,
and
what's her position?
other Shaktis coming out from, I don't know, I heard like Durga and other there are so many forms.
There's so many forms.
Only one, which is
So let's do this.
Parvati.
Let's do this.
Caitanya.
Relax. When Krishna made his appearance, before Krishna made his appearance, he called Yogamaya potency, right? And she came, oh yes, some service. So there were 3 services: transfer Balaram, take birth, come back, and Kamsa is going to try to kill you. Those are the 3 services. But he won't be able to kill you because you're my internal potency, so no worries. And after that, you'll take the form of Durga. And then different names, according to different parts of the country, people know Durga by different names, but it's the same potency. And Durga is one of the names of the potency with whom Lord Shiva associates. Durga or Uma or Parvati, those are names of the same personality, just different names indicating different features of her or that potency. So she is an expansion of Yogamaya. In the material world, but she, when is seen with spiritual eyes, she has this connection with Krishna. She's the consort of Lord Shiva. She's the consort of Lord Shiva. But both of them are under the supervision, direction of the original personality of Godhead, Govinda. That we find in the Brahma Samhita prayers, right? There's a whole verse dedicated to Durga. There's a whole verse dedicated to her. Shristi stati pralaya sadhana shakti rekha chayeva yasya bhuvanani vibharti. Durga. Shristi, Stiti, Pralaya. Those are creation, maintenance, and destruction. Pralaya. Shristi, creation. Stiti, maintenance. Pralaya, devastation. So she has a role to play in all 3 of those functions. She's not the creator. She's the energy through which Govinda is acting. But she's acting remotely as external energy, but even the external energy has shelter in the internal energy. A shadow has shelter in the object that casts the shadow. She works under the direction of Krishna, although Lord Shiva is her direct consort or her associate. Lord Shiva and Durga or Parvati or Uma or any of those other names. She's known by different names. There's different aspects of her. So that's a Shakti, and there's a personification of that Shakti. How's that? Better? Okay.
Other is like about Gayatri's
Gayatri.
position. Like, is it among the same category?
Yes.
Or higher?
Well, it's among the same. Then it gets a little complicated. Gayatri is said to be the mother of all mantras, right? Gayatri is the mother. From the mother comes many babies. So other mantras are from that one mantra, Gayatri. And there's personification, Gayatri. But there's Vedas, and Gayatri is part of the Vedas, and there's personified Vedas. There's personalities to each of the Vedas and parts of the Vedas, and she's one of them. And that's, the Vedas are female. And the female is the Shakti of Shaktiman, or Purusha, the Parama Purusha. The Vedas come from Krishna. So there's the, Gayatri, is one of the energies of Krishna, just like the Vedas are the energies of Krishna. They're from Krishna. They're emanating from and resting in Krishna. They're meant to reveal Krishna. That's what the Vedas are. But there's different stages of the Vedas. There's some that are higher, some that are not as high, as far as what they reveal. But they're all having one intention, revealing, ultimately, bringing one to Krishna again. That's what the Vedas are for. Vedaishta Sayarvayar Aham Eva Vedyo. Did you learn that verse? So you know. The purpose of the Vedas is to know Krishna. So even the less elevated portions of the Vedas, they're meant to reveal Krishna. So there's higher stages, and Gayatri is a very high stage. It's from Rig Veda. It's one portion of the Rig Veda. An important mantra. So your question now was, is she in that same hierarchy? Yes, she's one of the Shaktis, as the Vedas are also. All the Vedas, personified Vedas, they're potencies of. And their business, their function, reveal Krishna. More directly or more indirectly.
Thank you very much.
Okay?
This question is from Kirti Prabhu. During the 1 year when the cowherd boys got married to gopis, I understand it was Krishna in the form of his friends. Who did Krishna marry during that ceremony while all the other cowherd boys were getting married?
Not only that, who did Balaram marry? And I don't have the answer to that question.
If he did not get married, I wonder why Mother Yashoda did not insist on Krishna getting married along with his friends.
I don't have an answer to that question either. Other than Purnamasi didn't permit it.
And this is from Shamala Mataji. The graphic picture of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radharani is awesome. Would love to see it over and over again. The question that she has is, in Vrindavan or entire Vraj area, people greet each other only by saying Radhe Radhe. So, is it to please Krishna or Radharani?
What's the question? Is it what?
Is it, do they greet like that to please Krishna or Radharani?
Well, they're the mood for those who speak like that is you approach Krishna by the mercy of Radharani. They want Krishna's mercy through the mercy of Radharani. That's their mode.
And this question is from Satyavrata Prabhu. What Krishna wants us, the conditioned souls, to learn from these pastimes when we are not in purified consciousness?
Well, I don't know if there's something that we learn from the pastimes, but there is certainly something that we experience. There's potency within the pastimes. So we can understand Krishna's not very dull at all. He's very enchanting and charming and very mysterious. He's really fun to be around.
And this question is from Ashish Prabhu from Naperville. I was wondering if these pastimes keep happening even as we speak, but in some other universe, are they the same or they keep changing too?
They're not only in some other universe, they're eternally going on in Vrindavan. So there's unmanifest that are eternal, there's manifest that are eternal, and we discussed this at length in one of our morning classes 2 or 3 days ago, from chapter 37, text 22. We've been on that one verse, text 22, for about 6-7 days. So you can go back and listen to the detail if you'd like. But the principle is the manifest pastimes are prakat lila. They're eternally going on in some universe, like you say. Somewhere Krishna is appearing, and somewhere Krishna is appearing, and somewhere Krishna is appearing, and somewhere Krishna is lifting Govardhan Hill, and somewhere Krishna is lifting Govardhan Hill, and so forth. It is in sequence, like the rising of the sun. The example is given. Somewhere on earth the sun is rising all the time. And somewhere on earth the sun is setting, and some on earth it's noon. Somewhere on earth. So somewhere in this universe, Krishna's pastimes are being performed. They're eternal. Then in the aprakat or unmanifest form, they're eternally going on not to our vision or anyone's vision, except the eternal associates that are there. And our great devotees like Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami that can not only see the pastimes, but they can enter into them. That's discussed in Brahma Samhita.
I don't know where this question, who's the person asking the question. The question is, Radharani, Rukmini, Sita, they're all worshipped for pastime purposes. They all worshipped Parvati Devi to arrange their marriage to Krishna or Rama. Is there a particular reason that Parvati Devi is the personality that appears in very intimate way in all of Krishna's and his avatars' pastimes? Was there any benediction given to her?
I don't know why this person is saying that Parvati has an intimate role in Krishna's pastimes. I'm confused by the question.
The question is that all Radharani...
No, it's specific to Parvati.
They're all worshipping Durga or Parvati Devi.
Who's they all?
Radharani and Sita Devi, everybody worships Krishna for getting married to him.
Well, that's confusing. the question is confusing or misleading or something. The young gopis doesn't specifically say Radharani, but the young gopis worshipped Caitanya. But the explanation is they were worshipping the spiritual form from which the demigoddess Caitanya comes, the spiritual form of the internal potency of Krishna. That's the Yogamaya, because only Yogamaya can give one association of Krishna. A demigod or demigoddess cannot. They don't have the capacity. So they weren't worshipping like that. They were worshipping the internal potency, or Yogamaya, in that form, in that name, Caitanya. So she has a role in Krishna's pastimes as the internal potency, or Yogamaya, not Lord Shiva's consort Parvati.
This question is from Ananda.
Did you get it? Okay. You sure? You want me to say it again? Yes? You got it, okay.
This question is from Ananda Prabhu. Tuesday is going to be another busy work day. How should I observe the auspicious day of Radhashtami?
Get up early. And do your hearing, chanting, reading, remembering. And then at intervals during the day, if the circumstance permits, you can have some passages that you want to read about Radharani. And then join the program in the evening.
And this seems to be the last question for now, Guru Maharaj.
Okay.
Rohini Nandan Prabhu's question. Could you please describe some characteristics that differentiate left-wing gopis and right-wing gopis?
Sure. It's like liberals and conservatives. The right-wing gopis were very obedient, and the left-wing gopis were always challenging. You know, they would talk back to Krishna, say sassy things, you know, get out of here, and, you know, things like that. They would disagree with Krishna. They would object when Krishna would say things or do things. They were a little feisty. And the right-wing gopis are very obedient and submissive and passive and, you know, filled with love, but that the loving exhibition was coming out different for the two groups. Specifically, it says the right wing go by the internal potency, or by Radharani's arrangement, because Radharani is part of the internal potency, the pleasure potency portion of the internal potency. The internal potency is a big umbrella, and she's over here, part of the big umbrella, under the big umbrella category of internal potency. So since the right-wing gopis, or Chandravali and her associates, are Radharani's expansions, the purpose is to instigate the left-wing gopis to get more feisty. It increases the pleasure of their love. It's not competition, and it's not material. We don't like those people. That doesn't go on in the spiritual world. They may code a profile and speak, you know, like Shaibya spoke in a haughty way to Radharani's messenger, but it's for the purpose of enhancing Krishna's pleasure, although it doesn't look like it, because everything in the spiritual world is for increasing Krishna's pleasure. So that's what the right-wing gopis do. They're very obedient, loving followers of Krishna. Okay. Hare Krishna. You have something? No? Prabhupada ki jai.